Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 6th of October, 2014. Happy Monday to you. Let's take a look at what's going on in the tropics. Nothing outlined in the Atlantic right now. That might change. Talk about that in a moment. In the Eastern Pacific, nothing going on over the next couple of days. However, over the next 5 days, the Hurricane Center indicating the possibility of development here, just off the coast of Central America. Very low chance, though, 20% chance of development here. And it's interesting because, as I'm going to show you, there's kind of a model duel coming up here between the American-generated models, mainly the GFS, Global Forecast System, which is indicating development somewhere in this region, and the European model, the ECMWF, which is indicating development over on this side of Central America. So interesting times ahead to see which one of those models is right, and then, of course, what would happen if something did develop in the Caribbean Sea. First of all, looking in the Pacific, Simon tropical storm continues to weaken. It'll eventually, and fairly quickly here, become a remnant low, maybe tracking across the northern Gulf of California, but only as a remnant area of low pressure, getting into southern Arizona with more rainfall. This is not the same type of setup as Norbert or Odile. Yes, there'll be copious amounts of rain in some areas, copious for the desert anyway, but even the HPC, or what used to be the HPC, now it's the WPC, for Weather Prediction Center, indicating generally an inch or so of rain over not every area, but this is just a 5-day accumulation, what we call the quantitative precipitation forecast. What's neat, though, is that you can see the moisture coming out of the tropics here in the Pacific and then streaming up across the southwest and then into the Rockies, where some snow might fall because of this. Can you imagine that? And it's not out of the realm of possibility that you get tropical moisture transported in, and then you got the cold air over the Rockies translating into snow for the highest of elevations there. So something to keep an eye on. If you live in Arizona, especially in parts of New Mexico and Colorado, just keep an eye out on this, weather.gov. Put in your zip code, and you get all the local information that you need from the National Weather Service on flash flood watches and any local impacts that may come from this, something to watch. All right, well, as I mentioned, in the Caribbean Sea, we are starting to see an increase in the probability of development over the next couple of days, and only a very slight increase here on the Pacific side. This roughly translates to about this color right here, about the little bit, what do you call that, Carolina blue, something like that? Teal, I don't know. So roughly 10 to 12%. All right, so it's about 10% probability of development over the next 48 hours. This does not go to 120 hours. Instead, it's out to 48 hours. So this is the area that is suspect, at least by some of the models. If we look at a satellite shot of this region, you can see what's going on down there. A little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity starting to develop in this area right here as pressures start to lower a little bit more convergence at the surface, upper level winds becoming a little bit more favorable, but nothing over here in the Pacific just yet. Now, granted, the Hurricane Center indicated that that's down the road a few days at around the 5-day time frame between now and 5 days, but right now there's nothing in the Southeast Pacific. It's all right here in the Caribbean Sea, which is interesting because the GFS, the Global Forecast System, 5 days from now, remember, the Hurricane Center outlining this area right here for possible development, 20% over the next 5 days. Well, in 5 days, 120 hours out, there it is, there's nothing there on the GFS. Instead, it's in the Caribbean Sea. This is at 850 millibars, what we call the vorticity chart, that the spin in the atmosphere, the amount of spin, and the energy is focused right here near Honduras, Nicaragua, in the western Caribbean Sea, which is climatologically favored this time of year. Nice ridge of high pressure up to the north. keeping this kind of pinned down here, it matches the pattern. So we'll see the euro indicating a very weak development in this area. Which model is going to be right? Hey, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, if something develops in the Caribbean, we have to really watch it closely. It's already going to impact land areas with Central America and then possibly the Yucatan. So it's going to be an interesting week ahead. So let's get together again on Wednesday. Normally this season, since it's been so slow for the most part, I've been just doing these on a weekly basis. But let's get together again on Wednesday, shall we? I'll do another update on Hurricane Pro and HD on Wednesday, and let's see what happens. That'll give us another 48 hours of model data, and, we'll see. We'll be 2 days closer to seeing what the GFS really ends up showing or doing, if it verifies, or if the euro is onto something. Or maybe they're both right in some regard. We shall see. So that's it from me for today. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth. HurricaneTrack.com is my site. Always an honor and a privilege to do these videos for you on Hurricane Pro and HD. We'll talk again in 48 hours.